Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are finally here with some iRacing. Yes, it's been a little while, but 2023 Season 4 has now begun, and safe to say, it's quite a big one. We've got two of the all-new GTP cars. We've got an all-new Ferrari GT3 car. We've got an all-new track that I've never heard of, but that all sounds incredible. But there's something even better than all of that. Yes, we have got the Super Formula car, the SF23. We've got the Toyota variant. I don't know if we're going to get the Honda one at any point. They're all but identical cars, I'm pretty certain, in every single way apart from who does the engines, and even then they've got exactly the same power and everything like that. But yeah, I'm so excited to be jumping into this. We're closing in on 10,000 subscribers as well, so if you aren't already, it would be greatly appreciated if you would drop a sub on the channel. But yeah, I've decided I'm going to take the car here to Fuji. Of course, this thing fairly similar, you know, absolutely rapid, for those of you that don't know. Similar kind of pace I would expect to a Formula 2 car. But anyway, let's head out then onto the Fuji Speedway, one of my favourite tracks in the world, and I am so excited for this. Okay, well, let's get an initial sound test then of this car. Sounds pretty good, if you ask me there. But yeah, the Super Formula car kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think any of us were really expecting this thing to come out onto the sim, especially not now. You know, we had sort of no teasers, anything like that about this car. So very excited to see how we're going to fare with it on iRacing. Of course, you know, kind of, you know, obviously we've had the new Mercedes AMG car over the last couple of years. Obviously, iRacing now has, of course, announced that they're partnering up with the FIA as well. So obviously we've got an official F4 series, and hopefully that means quite soon we're going to get the F3 car. I wonder, though, if they aren't able to get licensing for the Formula 2 car. Oh, hello, this thing's Larry. On the sim, of course. Maybe EA and Codemasters have got a licensing deal over the car's exclusivity, obviously over on the official Formula 1 games, so that might be why we're struggling on that front. But I'm quite excited, you know, we've have effectively now, you know, if you kind of treat this as a Formula 2 car, which I know to any Super Formula fans is sacrilege, as this thing is Larry. I was not expecting to struggle that much. I didn't even feel like I'm pushing on the car whatsoever there, but clearly, yeah, very Larry on cold rubber. Yeah, but we have now effectively obviously got all the way up from sort of Formula 4s, haven't we? Obviously, because we've got the Ray 1600 car. Obviously, we've got F4, we've got F3. Effectively now, this can kind of fill in the slot that would be Formula 2. And, of course, we've obviously got a few Formula 1 cars now on the sim. So that is absolutely mental now. That theoretically, you know, we could do a whole sort of ladder progression system. But yeah, Super Formula, for those of you that don't know, is kind of Japan's premier open wheel series. It's highly regarded now in the world as well, especially, I mean, over sort of how much more popular motorsport has become in the last couple of years. Obviously, Japan kind of has their weird little own racing system. Obviously, Super Formula kind of sits right at the top of the Super GT 500 cars, which very much hoping we get those in the future as well. But yeah, these things on a similar pace, like I said, to the Indy cars and the Formula 2 cars that obviously we get as well. You know, we don't really get a direct comparison between all three in any place in real life. But, you know, that could be something I could do in the near future if it was something you guys would be interested in as well there. But yeah, this is obviously, you know, where a lot of Japanese, obviously, Formula 1 drivers cut their teeth. It's, you know, very popular as well. You know, you get a lot of drivers that just stay in Super Formula throughout their entire career because, you know, it is very popular over in Japan. I think the cars produce about 670 horsepower, so obviously a little bit more than the F2 cars, that around 620, I'm led to believe, by Mechachrome there. But yeah, these things absolutely will fly around the venue. Of course, probably made famous this year by obviously where Liam Lawson has been racing, you know, obviously now outside of Formula 1. Of course, now he's made his debut in F1 as well. And I mean, we've been talking about that on the podcast. You know, could Liam Lawson be in for a full-time contract very soon? But obviously, yeah, this has been where he's been cutting his teeth throughout the course of 2023. Of course, other famous Formula 1 drivers that have come to Super Formula, Pierre Gasly a couple of years ago. I'm pretty certain Brendan Hartley as well, I want to say, has done a little bit of Super Formula Racing back in the day. You know, it's somewhere where Red Bull like to put some of their junior drivers, but of course absolutely dominated by Japanese drivers as well. Of course, you know, it is their internal series, so they, you know, they'll come here, they'll go to Suzuka, of course. So, hey, still struggling with that rear end, you know, not quite getting the feel over it I was expecting to early on there. So yeah, Fuji, Suzuka, Twin Ring Motegi, Sportsland Sugo, probably some of the most famous venues that people outside Japan will have heard of course. You know, it is going to allow us actually, you know, there are a fair few Japanese tracks inside iRacing. You know, not convinced Tsukuba would be particularly great in this car, but of course you've also got what used to be Aida. I always forget the name of the track on iRacing as well. So, you know, we are going to have lots of possibilities with this car in the sim. Like I said, quite surprised that we didn't get this and the Honda at the same time, although, like I said, they are identical cars in pretty much every stretch of the word. You know, they're powered by different engines, but they both produce obviously exactly the same horsepower. You know, it's never believed that one team might have an advantage over the other, or one manufacturer even. So it is kind of just, you know, the way Japanese Super Formula works. And of course, you know, when this car came to Gran Turismo, we got both cars at the same time. And that was the other thing I was going to talk about. Very, very surprised actually that we've got this car on the game, because I just assumed Gran Turismo had full licensing over it. I just didn't really expect it to ever appear anywhere else. So I guess this is one of the only good things that has come from the whole motorsport game saga. Of course, iRacing has had to look in other places for its race cars. You know, would love a Super GT car, GT500 class. For those of you that basically don't know, you've got Super GT series, has what's known as GT5 and GT300. The GT300s are similar kind of pace to your standard GT3 car in Europe, and the GT500 cars are nuts. They are the fastest tin tops in the world. They are absolutely mind-bogglingly fast. You know, a good sort of 8-9 seconds a lap, I want to say, quicker than a GT3 car, even though they're built to obviously similar kind of specification. Normally chucking out around 700 horsepower, plenty of downforce as well. You know, a lot of well, not active aero on the car, but a lot of aerodynamics on the car as well. But let's take a moment then to talk about this Super Formula car. Now I've kind of got it up to pace, and we've done a little bit of an introduction as well. 125.9 is not a bad lap here either, because I'm not really pushing too hard just yet. But I'm quite surprised actually by just how slippery this thing feels. I ran it so slightly wide through turn one. I was expecting this thing to be a lot more hunkered to the ground. Of course, you know, you have got a lot of downforce on it, but really does not feel like you can chuck the car around a venue as much as I was expecting to. Of course, I'm sure we'll get some setups and things like that, which will make it feel a lot better. But braking zone's much bigger than I was expecting. Having to be a lot more careful on the throttle. Of course, we've already been for a couple of spins in this session so far. So very, very surprised by this car just so far. Of actually how not as quick as I was expecting it to be. You know, maybe I'm trying to perhaps drive it a bit too much like a Formula 1 car. I definitely was expecting a little bit more grip there. Tried to push the limits of grip and adhesion. But I think, though, despite that, it is going to create some pretty interesting racing on iRacing over the course of 2023 Season 4. So very much looking forward. You know, I'm going to try and do some racing in it. Whether it will just be popular, you know, in sort of Japan and Asia is a different question. You know, whether we'll be able to get some EU-friendly spits, maybe just for one season or so. You know, you never quite know how it's all going to work out. Of course, there's always the gamble you take when you buy one of these new cars, of course, that, you know, isn't like your Formula 3. You know, if they brought the official Formula 2 car, I can't imagine for a second that they'd struggle for attendance. But I think hopefully, you know, this thing is going to be able to prove itself as well. Of course, you know, interestingly, it looks to be running in parallel with the Formula Renault 3.5, which apparently has kind of had a bit of a resurgence in more recent times, which is, you know, good to see. I think there's definitely kind of been this yearn on iRacing more recently, you know, for kind of something just below Formula 1, which has kind of obviously always been what the Formula Renault 3.5 car has been. You know, the Formula 1 is always Formula A, and the Formula Renault 3.5 has always been Formula B, but it looks like this is going to kind of sit there as well in the Formula B. Whether it will be given the official Super Formula license, you know, sort of within the sim is another question for another day. But I guess, of course, we'll find that out when the final calendar for next season gets released. But yeah, really hoping they kind of steer into a lot of the Japanese circuits in this thing. You know, like I said, Fuji I think will absolutely be on the calendar. Suzuka as well, Twin Ring Motegi. Like I said, Tsukuba might be a little bit too small for this thing. But of course also, I've got to remember it. I keep calling it Aida, and I hope, you know, it's free content. Okayama is the name I was looking for there. Free content, obviously, on the sim as well, which I think would be quite good fun in this car. It's a 124.8 then, but let's try and really push this thing then, sort of see what it's capable of. Like I said, I'm staggered I got a break at 150 meters out for turn 1 there. You can still see there, struggling to put the power down on the exit. Big wobble from the rear end. Definitely intend on taking this thing to the Nordschleife as well at some point soon, as we are slowly getting more and more used to it. Like I said, I think it was just me trying to drive it a bit too much like a Formula 1 car, but very much got to turn the car in quite early as well into the braking zones and kind of allow the back end to rotate round with it, obviously off of turns. So very kind of smooth, balanced driving style. You know, it's been a while since I played iRacing as well, of course, just been so wrapped up with the Formula 1 content. So probably as well, it's a little bit of me trying to get back used to the iRacing handling model as well. So, you know, that of course is always its own little bit of fun. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to catch that one, but just let the car get away from me. I absolutely love as well the turbo spool on the overrun. It's a very good sounding car, I'll give it that. I think these are V6s, I'm pretty certain as well. Listen to that. So you just get so much backfire from it. It's great fun to drive as well. Like I said, I think it's certainly going to be an interesting one to try and learn over the course of the season. Of course, you know, I'm sure the halo as well, you can obviously disable that inside the car. Not actually that many settings as well. You know, I think this thing will really thrive in a fixed setup series, you know, a bit like the way Formula 3 and Formula 4 have been able to in more recent times. But yeah, 2023 Season 4, though, a huge update on the sim. So very excited, of course, to be jumping in with some of the other cars as well. Obviously, you know, I think iRacing has been desperate to get the GTP cars in. You know, I think now, of course, you know, surely the big one that everyone's going to be asking for is, in fact, the Ferrari 499, which I would like to believe could come next season. Of course, you know, we've got the Toyota as well, the Lamborghini, so there's a lot of cars that hopefully we're going to see on the sim. But I certainly think now, obviously, IMSA and the ILMS series are going to get a lot of interest and continue, obviously, to do quite well on the platform, of course. So yeah, hopefully, obviously, we're going to be able to jump in with some more iRacing in the new season. Of course, we've got plenty going on to be excited about on the second channel as well. That was a little snap of oversteer. But yeah, rounding our way through the final couple of corners. I think I've still got quite a lot of fuel in the car. Yeah, 24 laps worth 10 gallons. But we're going to try and go then for an attacking lap here as we round our way out of the final corner. Let you guys listen in to the car as well and kind of really see what it's capable of. I reckon we can get close to 1 minute 23s if I don't push too hard. But we'll wait and see what we're capable of there as we're going to reach the red line at about 185 in towards turn 1. Let's go for it. Out of the final corner. Oh, big wobble there. That's going to compromise my run slightly. But yeah, this thing is good fun. Very, very different driving style to anything else I'm really used to. I'm guessing the tyres just obviously don't provide the grip that you would expect them to. But a 124.441 there. I think we can walk away pretty happy with that lap time as well. But yeah, very, very excited to do some driving, of course, in the all-new Super Formula car. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed as well, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will be back hopefully tomorrow then, where we're going to be taking out the Porsche 963. I am looking forward to that. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated, and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.